A large crowd gathered in Driggs to learn about the right to defend themselves. Local News 8 reporter Braden Wilson shows us how it went and what they learned.
This auditorium is full of curious people wanting to learn about their legal right to defend themselves in the event of a dangerous situation.
What made me want to come out in the first place is because my son had an experience in Pocatello a couple of months ago where someone broke into his house. They broke the door down, and he did have to use a firearm to get the guy out of the house. And so I was really curious about what is the Castle Doctrine law and what are the current laws. Our son did everything right. The police thought he was great, but I wanted to know for myself.
Some of the principals discussed were the different criminal acts one may need to defend themselves from. Those include an assault, a case of battery, or other dangerous situations one may find themselves in. The forum was held by the prosecuting attorneys of Bonneville and Teton counties.
There are a lot of people in the county that exercise their right to bear arms, and we just feel that it's very important that people be educated about when they're going to exercise that right, that they have the knowledge to do so lawfully.
In the state of Idaho, in the event that someone is involved in a dangerous situation, legally they have a right to defend themselves. The only condition that is in place is that it must be a reasonable reaction.
Any level of force that's more than necessary in order to take care of that particular threat based on what you know at the time.
The people present at the forum were grateful for the day's events.
What stands out to me, I think, is there's a big community of people that want to know. They want to know what their rights are, and they want to understand the difference between constitutional rights and natural rights. We have a natural right to defend ourselves, and that comes from no government. That comes from God. And so I think, for me, seeing that there's a lot of people out here that want to understand and know that and learn about that is important.
This was a really great crowd. We had lots of questions. They were all very sincere. No one was, trying to pose anything wacky or play a game of gotcha or trying to get legal advice for something they shouldn't have done. It was just very encouraging to see a whole auditorium full of citizens who just want to educate themselves and make sure that they're staying within the bounds of the law when they're exercising their right to bear arms.
The principles discussed in the forum and the right to defend yourself is universal in the state of Idaho. That won't change regardless of where you are in the Gem State. In Driggs, I'm Braden Wilson.